Mountain West Basketball on Root Sports is brought to you by Connect for Health Colorado. You might not think you need health insurance. We all do. Get yours today at connectforhealthcolorado.com. And by Union Wireless, home of the contract buyout. Get paid to switch carriers. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number. In Logan, Utah, where the Aggies are 7-1 this year. They have a 29-26 lead over Wyoming as we get set to begin the second half. And moments ago, Jenny Kavnar caught up with Jeremy Shyatt, one of the assistant coaches for Larry Shyatt.
Jeremy, that buzzer shot by Grable had to give you guys a lift. What was kind of the message at halftime to get you back into this?
Well, that's the value of having seniors. They've been in situations like that before. Riley knew there was a second on the clock, and thank God it went in. You know, I think until about the last 4 minutes, Jenny, I think we did a pretty good job of locating their three-point shooters. To me, the biggest glaring weaknesses from an offensive standpoint was obviously turnovers. Whether they were in man or zone, we didn't do a very good job of taking care of it. And from a defensive standpoint, we got to do a better job getting in transition. You know, they got a lot of easies just because they beat us down the floor.
All right, Jeremy, thanks so much.
Well, he summed it up pretty well. Like father, like son, huh?
That apple didn't fall far from the tree. When I first met Larry Shyatt and his associate head coach, Scott Duncan, they were assistant coaches at New Mexico, and his son was a ball boy there. So that goes a few years back.
That's what you do when you graduate from ball boy to assistant coach.
Yeah, exactly.
The normal path, backdoor cut, Smith, reverse layup, and he makes it.
A great first play drawn up at halftime by Stu Morrill, the master of set plays, and then a great finish by Smith.
He truly is one of the great X's and O's guys in college basketball.
Their half-court execution, when he had returning players, was just, I mean, it was like painting by the numbers. They were so efficient. Remember, 4 new starters this year. This is the first play out of halftime. That was a terrific finish, but that was a nice play set up by Stu Morrill.
You're a lover of baseball. He was like a good infielder scooping that up. That was good hands by Smith. 5-second violation.
For Wyoming, who finished the first half in a big way, getting off to a tough start here to start the second half. Wyoming 1 for 6 from the three-point line of the first 6, and then hit 3 of 6. Kind of got themselves back in the game from the three-point line.
They go to Colette again. That's how they started the game. Colette converts. He's got a dozen. And it is a 7-point lead for Utah State a minute into the second half.
Colette had 24 points against UNLV, against one of the longest, probably athletic front lines in the league. So he's feeling pretty good about things right now.
They get the ball to Nance, Colette on him. And that pass, missed connection with Derek Cook. And Larry Shyatt wants a full timeout. Just a minute 18 into the second half. Utah State with the first 2 buckets of the second half. Utah State leading by 7. Well, they found their Union Wireless impact player in the first half, early in the second half. Jalen Moore. Watch Colette, he's going to post up in the middle of the paint.
That's what's called a duck-in move by a post player. When your post defender is level or lower than you, you see Cook gives a little help and gets himself level, and Colette with a great duck-in move and a nice pass by the 6'8" sophomore Jalen Moore.
Moore has 1 3-pointer, but he can score points in bunches. You don't have to run sets for him to have an impact offensively, number 14 in white.
Well, he creates opportunities for himself because he plays so hard. He runs the court, he rebounds it, and he creates his own offense.
Perkins, a little step-away jumper. Colette thought it should be Utah State basketball. And the underneath official, Sean Lehigh, had a better view of it, and he changed the call. So it will stay with Stu Morrill's club.
2 long athletes, and Cook and Collette going after it down there. Cook not near the scorer that Collette is, but a good defender, good rebounder. The Aggies playing 4 out around 1. Collette coming out, setting a lot of ball screens to an open post there.
There's Cook, Anderson. No call, no whistle. Larry Shia can't believe it.
And I was just getting ready to say that's where Collette kind of hurts himself on silly fouls, and he got away with one.
And now at the other end, a foul on Cook as he and Collette were battling for position. Let's see if that's a foul. That's a foul with the body and maybe with the arm. Yeah, they just missed one.
He got away with one there. Then at the other end, Collette again on that power duck-in move on Cook.
That's Julian Perry, his first bucket. That's huge. That's a 5-point swing, maybe a 6-point swing.
No question. No question. Julian Perry, a kid who only averages a little under 6, but just like the rest of these 4 newcomers, that starting 5 just keeps getting better as the season goes on.
10-point lead. And that 3 way off the mark for Adams. It comes to Collette. It's been one shot and out most of the night for Wyoming as well.
Yes, it has. And that is due to the Aggies' increased rebounding prowess. So we talked about that has been an Achilles heel all year for them, coming off a very good rebounding game, out-rebounding the running Rebels.
McManaman back in there, and it's a block on McManaman.
The Cowboys are having trouble guarding the Aggies at half court off of those ball screens. The Aggies spacing, they're playing 4 guys around Collette, letting Collette come out and screen on the ball, and then that lane is wide open for his role. Once again, Stu Morrow, a master at the offensive end of execution.
Collette crossover, and he missed the layup.
That was going to be a little set play, a little handoff there. Collette, what a terrific crossover for a guy 6'8".
That's the guy you want to find right now. They need a bucket. 7-0 run for Utah State. Adams. He passed up a shot.
Yes, he did.
Can't pass up this one. He's only got 7 to shoot it. And a whistle.
The Cowboys got bailed out then. I thought they passed up a couple shots. They've got to try to get Larry Nance Jr. the ball down on the low block. They're getting it to him in that little half post area. And the Aggies are doing a pretty good job then of not double teaming him, making him throw it out and then closing to the shooters. They need to get him a back to the basket catch.
No, it's interesting. Both these schools, particularly Wyoming, that's going to be a turnover. They don't foul much for 2 teams that play really good defense.
No, they don't. In fact, Wyoming's second in the nation in the least number of fouls per game. They're very untypically turning the ball over quite a bit tonight, though.
They've been so stout on the road, but they're down 10. 15:45 to go in the second half. Smith got a good look in the rebound off that Allen Herndon. Adams trying to create himself. And that was blocked by Collette. And he looked to the outside official because he thought he was fouled. Step away, Perkins is good. Perkins with 4, he averages 10 a game. It is a 12-point Aggie lead.
After that made basket, Stu Morrow immediately jumps up, holds up 2 fists. That's the sign for his zone defense. The Aggies typically this year have been man-to-man on misses, zones on make. Really gives you a different look each and every possession.
Nance back to a cut, and Herndon throws it down. Second time we've seen the nice high-low pass from
Nance
the outstanding senior Nance.
Nance is not just a great passer, he's got a great feel for passing. He knows where to look, and the timing of that pass takes somebody that has a really good feel for the game.
Wait for the basketball. Wyoming gets taken in. That'll be on Adams. 10-point lead, Utah State. Cowboy fans, remember to buckle up every trip, every time. Click it or ticket. 9-2, Utah State has won the second half so far, and they're up by 10. Wyoming leads the Mountain West shooting the basketball 49%, but not tonight. They're in the 30s, Joe. Is it bad shot selection, good defense, or shots just not falling?
I think they've missed some that normally they hit, but terrific Aggie defense. Remember, Aggies are number 2 in the Mountain West Conference in defensive field goal percentage at 38%, and so they're holding Wyoming to 37.5. That's about normal for them. They're also number 1 in defending the three-point line, and they're holding the Cowboys to 30% in three-point shooting.
Utah stayed with it. More hands off to Perkins. Gorski's come on the floor for Wyoming. As Larry Shiat's looking for somebody who can hit a shot, and Utah State turns it over.
We were talking about it at the break. Josh Adams really having a tough night. 1 for 6, 0 for 3 from three-point line, and 5 of Wyoming's 10 turnovers.
He's on the bench right now. He likes this court. Last year in a loss in Logan, he had 21. Well, they need either Grabo or Adams to get going, and they need Nance to do what he normally does and miss from point-blank range there.
Well, I just said they missed some that they normally hit, not a bunch, you know, 3 or 4, and that's one of them. That's about all it takes.
Moore, we haven't seen him shoot it in a while, and there might have been some rust on his offensive game.
Well, that was very good defense by the freshman Alan Herndon. Had a hand up on the catch, high hands on the shot. Herndon 6'9". Jalen Moore, maybe not a great shot, but very good defense by the freshman for the Cowboys.
Shot clock down to single digits again. Grabo. And he knocks down a triple. Big shot for Riley Grabo, his 3rd triple of the night.
Great release, great footwork by Grabo. Kid that only averages 8 points. One of the top three-point shooters, though, in Wyoming history. Doesn't shoot a lot, but boy, that was a picture-perfect catch and shot.
Loose basketball in the paint and a foul as Elston Jones was going up.
Watch Grabo come off this little flare screen or this little pick and pop, and boy, it just takes him a second to get that off. Talk about guys who have great releases. It's not because how quick they move the arm, it's from the waist down, and that was perfect. There you see 139 three-point baskets made, none of them as long as the one he made right before halftime.
And he's closing in on one of the most celebrated players in the history of Wyoming basketball, Fennis Dembo. He's on the cover of Sports Illustrated back in the 80s.
Along with Benny Dees, the guy who just took over for Jim Brandenburg, who had left to go to San Diego State. What a good coach and what a character Benny Dees. Still is.
Still is a character, absolutely right.
I saw him in the stands at Wyoming a year or so ago, and I said, I thought you died. He said, I've been resurrected.
Yeah, Dembo played with Eric Lechner, a couple guys who played in the NBA. McManaman out of the corner, no go, and a loose basketball grab by Smith. Good decision by Smith. JoJo McGlaston, and the rebound plucked down by Nance. 7-point Utah State lead, and on the floor, obviously the dunk was missed, but it would not have counted. Nance was fouled on the floor.
Boy, that was pretty impressive. Watch this explosive little hesitation move there.
Pretty good for a guy who had ACL reconstruction a little less than a year ago.
Yes. He worked awfully hard to rehabilitate that knee. Well, that was impressive, even though he came away with no points.
Well, he had it pinned down. Well, you got to get him the ball there. Grabo, who's a great point guard. Nance had Colette pinned under the hoop, and they didn't get him the ball, Coach.
They did.
Never pass panic with Wyoming. They played so many close games this year, and they turned it over there.
Well, they've run that sealed double along the low block area there for Grable a couple times, trying to spring him to get him a shot. The Aggies are really on point defensively. If you want to see how good they are, watch them away from the ball. Wyoming now back in their zone defense, a 1-1-3. It ends up being a 2-3. But watch the Aggies away from the ball. Great stance, great vision on the ball. They're really, really playing well at the defensive end.
Jalen Moore with his second bucket of the game. He's got 5. And the lead back to 9 for Utah State. 11.5 left in regulation.
Jalen Moore kind of has a habit of getting going late in games. He's had 17 straight double-digit scoring games, but he has really upped his game in the last 5 minutes of the last 3 or 4 games.
Gorski out of the corner. 3's just not going down for Wyoming. Here's Bolt. Passed in by Moore. You said it earlier, just hard work.
Doing something hard to get something easy, just running the court, following what could have been a sure layup. A lot of guys would have laid back, creating his own offense. Jalen Moore on the wing of that 2-3 matchup zone with those long arms makes it really tough.
Larry Nance on that possession never touched the basketball. 42-31, 11-point Utah State lead.
There's a little bit of reason Wyoming has taken 3 straight threes, 3 straight contested threes. They're having a hard time creating any kind of other shot.
Moore, a 3, no go. Grabo down the lane, and he drew contact. Then he had to avoid getting stepped on by Colette. Aggies by 11. Utah State leading 42-31. It was a 3-point game at halftime. The Cowboys have only 2 field goals in the second half. Nothing from Larry Nance Jr., one of the leading candidates for Player of the Year in the conference. Riley Grabo is going to go to the line. That's good news for Larry Shyatt.
Well, Riley Grabo, the nation's leading free throw shooter at 95%, has only missed 3 free throws all year, 54 of 57. Also the #1 shooter in Wyoming basketball history, a career 87% shooter. But how about this, Drew? Only 1 free throw attempt for the Cowboys before this one, only 5 for Utah State. I'd say they're letting them play, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see Jenny pick on Grabo and go play pig with Grabo.
Play a little horse, yeah.
Oh, wow. My God. You know what? We brag on the guy, and he just missed his 4th free throw all year. And you know what? That wasn't even close.
No, that was a bad shot. That missed wide right, so to speak.
He made the correction. 10 in the game for Grabo, and that is the deficit for Wyoming. 17-3, just 1 loss in conference play all year.
Wyoming extending their defense there to a 2-2-1, now back in straight man-to-man defense.
There's a 3 ball that doesn't go for Perry. And Wyoming gets it. Only 3 teams have beaten Wyoming this year. San Diego State conference play, Cal out of the Pac-12, and SMU, Larry Brown's Mustangs.
And they had the last shot at Cal, either to tie or send it or to win it, and Larry Nance Jr. wasn't able to hit them in their last possession.
That's a tough pass by Hankerson. He got it back. Again, the shot clock winding down, single digits. Adams gonna have to create himself. He's not playing with confidence. He would never give that up. He gave that up, coach, with 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Oh, he's really struggling tonight. Turned over, can't find it. I thought he was trying to do a little too much early on, I thought he passed up some pull-up jump shots trying to get it all the way to the basket, but he has really, really struggled.
Just 1 of 6 from the floor. Perry drives, finds McGlaston. Good find to Collette.
Assist JoJo McGlaston.
14 for Collette, leading scorer in the game. 44-32, back up by 12 for Utah State.
Nice pass by McGlaston, getting to the paint. That great athleticism. He got up over the defense and dropped that one right on Collette.
Nance waits till traffic clears, and he finally has a bucket in the second half with 8:20 to go.
I think that's his only second shot of this half.
A dozen for Larry Nance Jr. And a near steal by Adams. And then he taps it from behind and a late call.
That was on number 14, Josh Adams. His second, 15th foul. Sean Harris now in.
Sean Harris on the floor. Jalen Moore will step out for, I guarantee, just a moment or two. 5 team fouls on Wyoming. 3 team fouls on Utah State.
Sean Harris, Jenny's pigmate out there in their shooting contest. He's the first big sub off the bench, and he comes in and plays maybe a couple minutes and gives Collette or Moore just a short breather.
Timeout on the floor.
7:54 left as we step aside. Utah State trying to hand Wyoming just their second conference loss all year.
7:54 to go in Logan, Utah. Utah State with a 10-point lead over Wyoming. How about news around college basketball? Congratulations to head coach Mike Krzyzewski from Duke, his 1,000th win for Krzyzewski, 77-68 victory over St. John's. That happened just a few days ago. When you take a look, he is the lone leader in the Century Club for Division I men's basketball coaches at 1,000. On the list of over 600 wins, though, is Utah State's head coach Stu Morrill, 613 wins. Of course, this will be his final season, announced his retirement at the end of the 2014-15 season. You know, I did talk to Larry Shyatt a bit, though, about Coach Krzyzewski and getting that 1,000 win. Of course, Shyatt was at Clemson as a head coach, played against Duke in the ACC. He said, you know what? I helped him out a bunch. 11 wins.
Hey, you know what, Jenny, he's not alone. There's a whole lot of folks that have lost to Duke through the years, and of course, Coach K got his start at West Point. And what was interesting, number 2 on that list is Jim Boeheim, Syracuse. They're best friends. And Syracuse took out an ad in the student paper, Duke student paper, a full-page ad congratulating Coach K. There's your horse partner, Sean Harris, making an impact with a stick back.
You know, Jenny, that was that shot that you threw up, that putback shot that you almost got a letter on him there. I'm not sure if that's fair, you doing that pregame prep with him.
I'm glad he made it in the game, because he didn't make it against me in Pitt.
Well, everything going right for the Aggies.
Yeah, and there's another turnover. But here's where the style of play hurts Wyoming. They're unaccustomed to having this kind of deficit. It's now 14 with a little less than 7 minutes to go. They're not a team that plays up-tempo and gets early offense.
No. They're a hard team to play from behind. Larry Nance only 2 field goals this half. And they just can't get him the ball, it doesn't seem like, in the paint.
I mean, everything offensively has been around the perimeter, 23, 24, 25 feet from the bucket. Adams gets bumped. That'll be a 4th foul team-wise on Utah State. Perry picks it up. That's his 3rd.
Nice read by Darius Perkins, the junior college point guard. Graybolt hitting headlong into the ball screen. No help on that ball screen going under, and a really nice pull-up by Perkins, who you said really playing well here in the last, this is his 4th game. The last 3 games, he's averaged over 13 points and really shooting it well from the 3-point line, 9 and 13.
Gorski draws a crowd and a little jump hook. Nice shot from Alex Gorski. He's got 8 off the bench for Wyoming. This Wyoming team, in 7 games, their bench had supplied them just 33 points in conference play.
Well,
so it's been all about their starters.
Gorski could really help him. I talked about him missing so much of the early season with that broken finger.
That's offensive. Smith ran into, Cook who drew the foul?
That's one of the few times you'll see Chris Smith get out of control. He normally, I keep saying, he's one of the most quietly effective players in the Mountain West Conference. You almost don't notice him, yet he's averaging double figures. He's shooting 46% from 3, but he very rarely makes turnovers or gets out of control. The Aggies staying with their matchup zone that is giving Wyoming all kinds of trouble.
On the shot clock. Nance finds Gorski and it gets taken away. And Grabo beats the buzzer by about 2 seconds and he drops in a 3. And it's back down to single digits. Big shot from Riley Grabo.
Right place at the right time. They've got to get some stops now.
4th triple of the night for Grabo.
Look for the Aggies to stay in that zone defense. That was just again, a right place at the right time. They haven't given up much in that 2-3 matchup.
Pull up from Perry, air ball, but it goes off of Grabo.
Grabo picked this one up off the ground with a very short shot clock here. Rise right up to his shot. Great little pass fake there.
Frees the feet. That's what he did there, the defender. 48-39, Utah State. Well, now they go up the floor with a chance to cut it to 7, maybe 6.
That's the same shot, Derek, that Darius Perkins hit off the ball screen last time. Cook really late getting out to kind of hard show, as coaches would call on that.
Nance gets a good look, and he makes it a 7-point game, 48-41. Larry Nance Jr.
Tough shot. That was pretty good defense by David Collette. High hand right up in his grill, and Nance rose right up in rhythm, knocked it down. They need to get him the ball more often, obviously.
Bumping foul. That's on Hankerson. Stoppage in play. Wyoming on a 7-0 run, back in contact with Utah State. .358 to play. Utah State in front of a big crowd at the Spectrum in Logan, leading Wyoming by 7. They've out-rebounded the Cowboys, they've outshot the Cowboys, and they've forced an uncharacteristic 13 turnovers from Wyoming as well.
Well, we kind of look at Wyoming like, why aren't they shooting better? I tell you, it has an awful lot to do with the Aggie defense. They are really on point, really attentive. Hardly any uncontested shots by Wyoming, nothing easy. Really having a hard time getting the ball to Nance in the post. I think a lot of credit has to go to the Aggies.
Remaining on the floor for Wyoming's Alex Gorski. Adams had a tough night shooting it. Gorski has shot it well, so he's getting crunch time minutes with Wyoming trailing by 7. Again, they're 6-1, leading the Mountain West Conference. Utah State's 4-3. Big possession here to end that 7-0 run. And Jalen Moore with a runner no-go, and Grabo comes down with a loose basketball. So Utah State turned away. 3.5 left.
Drew, you and I predicted that this wouldn't get out of the 50s, and I don't think there's much of a chance with 3:20 to go that either team's going to get to 60.
Nance misses. McGlaston with a weak side board.
Once again, good defense by the Aggies coming to double that. Collette guarding Larry Nance Jr., Jalen Moore coming to double it. Larry Nance having to shoot a turnaround jump shot out of that double team. A very high degree of difficulty to make that one go in. Again, credit the Aggies defense.
To go 17-3, you got to win close games. A year ago, a lot of close losses for Larry Shiatt's team. This year, in games decided by single digit, they're 8-2. They're in a single digit game right now, down by 7. Utah State's led most of the way. College hoop fans, don't miss this weekend's Mountain West doubleheader. Cowboys back in action. They'll host Nevada at the Dome of Doom up in Laramie. And then San Jose State will be at the Pit, taking on the Lobos. Coverage begins at 4 this Saturday on Route. You're down in Albuquerque, right?
I am down there for the Lobos and the Spartans. The Spartans having a awfully hard time this year with suspensions and injuries, and boy, just as I always say, kind of buzzard's luck for the Spartans this year. Not much fun is being had in San Jose.
Scoring drought of 4 minutes right now for Utah State. They were up 14. Smith, a good look. And he got the roll. Chris Smith with 14. Huge bucket for the Aggies.
Well, the first option on that play was to go inside the Collette. Larry Nance Jr., great post defense. And then Smith coming up off a double staggered screen away, and what a velvet touch that was. That thing hit every part of the rim before it fell in.
Now the clock is a factor. Inside 2:20 to play. Wyoming can't take 30 seconds every possession. Nance misses. Grabo has it. And Grabo cannot hit from three-point range.
One of the very few offensive rebounds Wyoming has gotten tonight. I think that is only their 5th offensive rebound. And as we talked about early, the Aggies, that's been their Achilles heel all year.
Well, Utah State may go to Patriot ball right now.
Patriot ball?
Yeah, take the air out of it.
Oh, okay. You were hoping to spring that one on me, weren't you? Here,
you know what? We had to work that in. Here's Collette. And that may do it for the Aggies. 12-point lead again. David Collette's got 16.
Derek Cook just has had a hard time all night defending that duck in that I talked about with Collette. Collette has really gotten it going on the low block. The Aggies up 12 with 1.5 minutes. I don't know if the Wyoming Cowboys can pull off yet another miracle after coming off an overtime win and a 3 overtime win in their last 2.
Hard to win on the road. Hard to win on the road in the Mountain West Conference. And I, in this final season of Stu Morrill, have to reiterate a stat we always run out there when we're in Logan. Stu Morrill, in conference games since he took over 17 years ago, 118 and 19 here at the Spectrum. That's unbelievable.
613 wins, and much like Larry Shiatt said about Coach K's 1,000, I contributed a few times to Stu's 613 wins. But what I'm amazed at, I think this is my 5th game now of the Aggies. I had them real early in the non-conference, and just as you knew they would, with 4 new starters, only 4 returning players, they have gotten better and better and better. They had some real rebounding problems. Now they're going to end up out-rebounding their last 2 Mountain West Conference opponents. Again, you give that guy enough time with the team, he's going to get them where they need to go.
And a difficult one. He spent a lot of time talking to the media about this yesterday. This was difficult because they felt like they had a tragic loss in Vegas.
No question. They were up 5 with 43 seconds left. Chris Jones, the assistant, took me through what happened. I mean, it was a perfect storm. It was unbelievable how they ended up losing that game.
You got to get shots up right now. And Grabo tried to split a double team, but Glaston came up with it.
Well, going into that timeout, Perkins gathered his team at half court, and you could see he was just saying, we are not going to lose this one. And boy, they came out with great energy on that last defensive possession.
Good balance for the starters for Utah State. Collette, another really good ball game. He had 24 against Vegas. He had that, tough foul late. Kind of a mental lapse, but he's got 16 tonight. Perkins misses. 14 for Chris Smith, he's a quiet assassin, isn't he,
Boy,
Joe?
he really is. He gets a lot done, never changes expression.
1 minute remaining.
Cook followed up twice, and it goes out of bounds off of Smith. 54 seconds left. Wyoming's going to lose for just the second time in conference play. As good as they are defensively, and as great as Nance is, you need Adams and this guy Hankerson to contribute offensively, and normally they do, but they just had, both of them had off nights offensively for Wyoming.
Well, Adams has just had a nightmarish night. He was averaging 12 coming into this, but he was averaging almost 16 in their Mountain West Conference play, and he has just not been able to find the range. He's just, again, had a nightmare-type performance tonight for him.
And Hankerson's been shut out, and that's kind of emblematic of his evening. He's 0 for 5. And off camera, he's covering his face with his jersey. It's one of those nights.
Hankerson, 10th in the Mountain West Conference in three-point shooting. Hasn't made one now in the last 2 games. It's still about putting it in the hoop.
You know what? You can X-no all you want. When the ball goes in, you feel pretty good, and you look pretty good if you're a coach. And when it doesn't,
you don't look so good.
You don't look so good.
And you don't feel so good.
Yeah, exactly. They chartered in here, Wyoming. They'll fly from Logan back to Laramie. It's a straight shot east of here. You're driving it, it's about 6.5 hours.
With no snow.
With no snow and no wind.
It could be 2 or 3 days with snow.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of wind in western Wyoming. Grabo hits his 5th three-pointer. And a timeout. 37 seconds left, 54-44. There's a game that's going to start in about 10 minutes or so up in Boise, Idaho. That'll be interesting also. Boise State's playing better and Colorado State's visiting.
Well, Boise State's another team having to overcome some injuries, and they are playing good basketball right now.
Well, time for the Clutch Player, brought to you by Mako. There for you in the clutch. Visit Mako.com to find a center near you. And David Collette with a steal right before the end of the first half and a dunk. And they found him on the low block early in both halves to kind of set the tone.
Well, what he's done is become more consistent. Remember, started a freshman record, and he's set his freshman record with 22 points in his opening game against Weber State here, and then everyone expected that every game. He hadn't played in 2 years, hadn't practiced in 2 years, but boy, he is on the come here of late.
But Glaston got the roll.
Once again, Stu Morrill knowing that Wyoming was going to come out with hard pressure, running that home run play and coming up with it in a big way.
Yeah, Wyoming's going to back off now with just 15 seconds left. What a convincing win for Utah State, and maybe their best W of the year.
This may be their best W since they've been in the Mountain West Conference. Remember, only their second year here. Stu Morrill's taken them through 3 different conferences in his 17 years here.
And Larry Cheyenne whispering something about what a great career Stu Morrill's had. Great respect between those 2 men. Congrats to the Aggies, 56-44. They played a very solid 40 minutes on both ends of the floor.
2 very good coaches and 2 very, very fine gentlemen and great representatives of college